Welcome to bLU Talks.
Well, Art, it's really a pleasure to be able to spend some time in conversation. You being the sales guru that you are, I'm just very impressed with your experience, your background. So instead of me trying to describe who you are and what you do, how about you just take a couple of minutes and fill me in on what's your background, tell the people about yourself.
No, sure. Thank you. I appreciate that. So what I do now is I help sales teams increase revenue, margin, client satisfaction through a portfolio of offerings. And that includes a methodology around what I call seamless sales. And that includes a book that we could talk about a little bit perhaps, as well as apps and most importantly, speaking engagements, keynotes, things like that, and workshops. I do this because it's based on my background, which was sales and sales management positions. And then prior to that, it was being a customer. So I was on the receiving end of demos and presentations, and I was the one that people tried to take the money from and all that. And that eventually grew into the sales and sales management. And for the last roughly 25 years, sales enablement, helping mainly B2B companies generate all those benefits.
So you have your own company called Team Sales Development. What was your motivation? How did that get started?
Well, I always wanted to be on my own, but like many of us, it just seemed too daunting to try to do that. So I had an opportunity to jump into it in the early 2000s. I had already knew that I wanted to do it. I just didn't have the opportunity. So when it arose, I went ahead and started my own company for the purpose of sharing all of my experiences and trying to leverage it across multiple customers. When I was working for, a company, I was doing things inside the company with some sales enablement, but that was just for the company, and that was wonderful. What I really thought was that the message that I had and the things that I was doing could be applicable across many different companies, and that's the joy that I've had for 25 years is helping a variety of different companies. It's always interesting to see, as you know from your experience as well, is that it's really fascinating to see what people are up to and how you can help.
And it's all about the people, right?
Absolutely.
It's all about the relationships.
Correct.
For sure,
Yeah.
for sure. So I haven't had an opportunity to read it yet, but tell us a little bit about your new book, Making Seamless Sales.
Yes, which we just happen to have.
Oh my gosh.
Look at that. Just happen to have it. Well, this is really what I would call the next step in what I would hope is sharing of the information to help other people. So I've bottled up in the book what I've learned for the last 25 years in my different engagements and all the different portfolio business that I have and options that I offer. The book is designed primarily for B2B teams where there's a technical salesperson and a salesperson, typically called like a sales engineer, and then a salesperson, a sales executive or account manager. And the challenge has been forever that these two positions are pretty much on their own while they still need to work together. So my big mission now is to help those individuals at the opportunity and the account level to work together better. And the reason why this is a need is because organizationally they're separate very often. They're different mindsets by design because there's a different focus for each. Technical is going to be more on the features and functions tied to the business, and the salesperson is more about closing the business. And the personalities are usually different too.
Sure.
So for all those reasons, and not to mention sales training companies either focus on one or the other, nobody's really helping to bring them both together. And that's why, and it's kind of, my grandson pointed this out, kind of a little bit of a dad joke when he saw the title. It's Making Seamless Sales, and the seam is in uppercase. And my grandson's like, there must be a dad joke there somewhere, because they always count. When is he gonna start with the dad jokes? I said, yeah, this is a little bit of a notice of it's the SE and the AM working together better. So pre-sales and sales working together seamlessly is the idea.
So we can talk more about this later, but that person who's watching this, where do they go to buy it?
It's on all your favorite outlets,
Okay.
and we could talk about my website too later, teamsalesdevelopment.com, but yeah, it's available.
All right. So you've helped transform sales teams for some of the largest B2B companies, business-to-business companies in the world. What are one or two concepts that can apply to any type of sales interaction, no matter what you're selling, no matter how large or how small the item is?
Yeah, so I think that we can never go wrong, whatever we're selling or whatever we're offering or the solutions that we bring, is when we focus on the other person. And you started to mention that earlier. When we focus on the client and what they're trying to accomplish and help them with what their goals are, first of all, it's just the right thing to do. But secondly, when we do that, then when they're happy, then we'll be happy and we have a better relationship. I don't, tactical sales or transactional sales may have their place, but even in a relatively transactional sale, it's got to be about the other person, not about you. And I know a lot of people, and it's easy to do this when you're in a sales position. You want to go after the money and everything. I believe that when you go after the helping the client, then the money's going to come.
Right.
The other side note on that is, as far as a principle or an idea is, if the other person that you're trying to help is not going to benefit from what you offer, just peacefully agree to go your separate ways and wish them well, and don't try to keep pounding on it for the sake of making a sale. It shouldn't be about making a sale. It should be helping them with the buy so that they want what you have. Right. And when that relationship's not there, it's not really worth trying to force fit it.
Yeah, a question I like to ask is, what's the most expensive problem you can solve?
Yeah, right, because
Right.
that's the thing that and we call it in some parts of this the critical business issue, or the business need, the business initiative that's the most important thing that they are trying to solve. Exactly.
Right. So how about sales concepts that can be translated into everyday life? Since sales, as you said, is essentially persuasion.
Right.
What is there that can be woven into day-to-day life, do you think?
Yeah, sales really is just persuasion. It's about influencing somebody to maybe change their perspective, or certainly to want what you have. And again, that's where the pull or the buy comes into play. Whether we're trying to convince our significant other to go, to a certain type of restaurant or watch a certain type of movie, it could be in our community where we're trying to work together to get some efforts, going. It's about consensus and it's about common interests. So when it comes to sales, we want to win-win, and when it comes to life, we want to win-win. I don't want to win at your expense, and you shouldn't want to win at my expense, because I learned a long time ago that whether it's win-lose or lose-win, it always results in lose-lose. So having the win-win attitude and cooperating with each other. So it's about influencing in a way that helps the other person.
So having been doing this for quite a few years now, what are you seeing today in the sales process or the sales game that's different than 20 years ago? Anything come to mind?
Oh, yeah, definitely. And you've been around long enough to know this too. Is that back in the day, we used to be able to...
Are you saying I'm old?
No. Experience. Seasoned.
Experience. Seasoned. Yeah.
Is that back in the day, we used to sell, I was in software sales, enterprise information management, and literally you could close the sale by giving somebody a DVD or a CD that had the software on it, and then they took it and they installed it. And I'm not saying I would ever want this, but it could be that whether they used it or not, it didn't matter. You closed the deal, you had the sale. And they usually paid some maintenance for updates and things, but largely they were on their own. And, back in the day, there was a thing called shelfware, where literally it wasn't necessarily even frowned upon. Is like, get the sale and get it done, transfer that CD so we could book the sale, and then it may sit on the shelf. And companies for many years had all kinds of solutions they never actually used. Now it's not like that. Now it's consumption model. I know a number of my clients, the client doesn't pay anything unless they actually use the product. It's not even a license. It's how many bits they use, how many information of data they use, what's their consumption on number of transactions or other types of things. So the sale doesn't end at the sale anymore. The sale's really the beginning of proper use of the solution. And it's only thinking about that end in mind that matters to us now, is getting the clients to use it, which is the right thing to do anyway.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's the
kind
recurring revenue that you're looking for too.
Absolutely, the recurring revenue and the recurring relationship.
The other thing that comes to my mind is 15 years ago, 20 years ago, people didn't have access to Google. Because now what I'm hearing is people are searching 8 to 10 to 12 times to make sure, to validate the decision that they're making, was another thought that I had in this whole process.
Oh, correct. Back in the day, you didn't know where to even start, so you had to engage a salesperson pretty early on. Right now, and the studies vary from like 58% or 74% of the time is spent prior to getting a salesperson involved. So they've done their research, and they may or may not be right. You know, there's an expression, the customer's always right. We want to make the customer right. We want to help them to be right. The information that they got may be incomplete, it might not be correct. We can help them with understanding what's really needed. The key thing for sales teams now is knowing that all that research had been done. We have to understand what happened at the moment that they engaged us, what happened before that. So it didn't just come out of the blue and they developed an RFP or an RFQ. There was something that caused that to happen. So I advocate thinking about moving left in the sales process, or really the buying process. How did they get to the point where they're now contacting you? And what are they expecting you to do to help them on that journey to success?
I had never even thought until you just said something, the RFP or the RFQ or whatever. Think about the number of people that are probably using AI to even create those goofy documents.
Of course. Right.
So so it's not necessarily a positive, but there's a lot more information available to that prospect.
That's right. And knowing what they're trying to do is the important thing. Answering the request for proposal is usually a bunch of check marks, but I advocate what is the value you bring by fulfilling the things they're looking for. And again, trying to find out the picture and the end in mind that they have.
Good point. So if you were to jump into a time machine and go back to your younger self, what advice would you give?
Okay, well, I would say stay the course. So I'm a big believer in things happen for a reason, and I don't like to look back in regret. What I like to do is learn from my past. So I would just say, absorb everything that comes your way, look at the circumstances, understand what it is that you feel you're being led to do, and then go with it. Even if it's a little scary or outside of your normal box, because I've been through so many different things that, every single one of those has led to where I am now. And I couldn't even have planned that out. So I'd say stay the course and trust the process.
So what comes to mind when someone asks you about time travel in your personal life, even, as far as the past and going forward and so on and so forth? What are the pros and cons about who you've been and who you want to be going into the future?
It's, we've seen all the movies and all the different scenarios and things like that. I don't really think I'd want to necessarily go back in time for any particular reason. As I said, it's the only reason that I'd want to do that or that I would think about doing that is just to learn and capture those teachable moments and the continuous improvement. I mean, I'm an engineer by study. I'm a recovering engineer, so, a reforming engineer, but, it's about a continuous improvement. What I do like, and we talked about this a little bit, is the idea of where it looks like in the future as far as me, but not because it's about me, but what is my legacy? We had a dear friend of ours just recently had a heart attack. He actually died on a pickleball court and was revived.
Wow.
And when I talked with him just a week or so ago, he said, Art, you don't need to keep working. You got enough money, just stop. And I said, yeah, but here's the thing. It isn't about the money. It's about the help that I can bring, the knowledge I have, the stuff I want to share. So I would say the time machine is go forward and see, did I make that impact that I wanted to? Did I get that message out, and did resources like this help somebody? And that's the main thing. And with my family too. My family is just awesome, and I've got great hopes for my grandkids, and I know that those boys are already doing great. So to see where that leads, I think would be the biggest reason I'd even contemplate it.
Perfect. So somebody that's watching this, listening to this, how do people get in touch with you?
The easiest thing is LinkedIn. So it's just LinkedIn and it's Art Fromm. My website is teamsalesdevelopment.com. And then the book is available through any outlet that you could use, although there's not an audio book yet. And I am going to be working on that because I've been advised that that's a good idea. So anyway, those are the two main ways to get a hold of me.
Thank you for sharing all of your wisdom with us today.
My pleasure. As long as
you.
it helps somebody out, I'll be very happy about that.
Right on.
Thank
Right
you so
on.
much.
Okay. We're done.